Hi everyone, this is Suzanne Wagner. Thank you for joining me. We are doing the numerology and the astrology for May 7th, 2021. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 17, and if you add the 1 and the 7 together, you get the number 8. Now, you've heard me say that the number 8 is about as above, so below, as below, so above. It's a figure 8 that's going down the front, between your legs, up your spine, over the top of your head, flipping and coming down again in the front. So this is a manifestation number, but in the process of taking a dream and bringing it into the physical, you're going to hit snags. And the snags are often the unresolved emotional places that we hold inside. So while if you do this great, the number 8 is about manifestation of money. Most of us have a little bit more of a hard time with this particular number. And so as we try and bring something into the physical, we hit our unresolved emotional issues, specifically grief, loss, and sadness. That says, that negative voice inside that says, oh, I can't really do this, or who the hell am I to think that I can get this done, and I'm not so special, and all those negative inner critic voices that are happening. So today I wanted to remind everybody that the number 8 day is about both of those sides. And so hopefully we're opening up to the infinite, and we're also going to be bringing that in and dealing with the snags that come in that we hit that are our own physical insecurities. So it's kind of like, Yoda says that, it's just that you don't believe that it's possible. Like if you don't believe you're strong enough, then you won't be able to do it, right? So the number 8 reminds us to let things go from our past. We may need to feel through them completely and to gain the wisdom that has accumulated there. We're trying to surrender to the hidden realizations that are right there once we are willing to engage in a truthful reflection of what is. Only then can we become what we came here to be. All pure emotions are doorways to higher consciousness if we embrace the journey that they require to deepen our understanding of self and this world in which we live. Dead zones in our emotional matrix show a lack of awareness and less maturity in that particular area. All life experiences the complex feelings of this dimension. It's just part of the journey, and it is life's greatest gift if we are finally willing to embrace our totality. So I felt like telling a little quick story here, that there was a teacher many years ago that did a workshop that was called The Game of Life. And in the Game of Life, you took words, the group decided on the words, and then you were to embody the words. And so you had a team that had played the game before that were judges, and then you would try to embody a particular word. And what you discover in this process, as you're having people trying to decide what word you have been exhibiting without using words, that you find that you're confused yourself. That's what I discovered, and that's what everybody pretty much discovered. That we, in our game, one of the games that we did trust, integrity, love, and forgiveness. So here you are, you're trying to embody a word, you're trying to exude from your energy field a word that all the judges will get, right? That everybody goes, okay, that was trust, or okay, that was integrity. And what you find is that you're confused. Like I said, that suddenly they say, oh, you're doing the word trust when you thought you were doing the word integrity. And then you think you're doing the word love, and they think you're doing the word integrity again. You think you're doing love, and they think you're doing the word forgiveness. And so you realize that you have these crossed patterns in your own experience, and that you don't have emotions clearly defined, that there are these weird overlaps. And so in the 8 day, I think that there are differences between sadness, grief, loss, abandonment, shame, betrayal. But all of those could look on the outside sort of similar in different ways. So how do we distinguish those? How do How do we internally have that delineation? So I think today is a great day to kind of look at the dead zones. So what are the emotions that you think, oh, I just never feel that emotion. Well, why don't you feel that emotion? Like, what's going on inside of your experience? Have you never fully experienced that emotion? Have you never allowed yourself to feel that emotion completely? And as I said earlier in the blog, that all pure emotions are doorways to higher consciousness. Now, mixed emotions, sort of like fear and loss, together create jealousy, right? So mixed emotions are not clear doorways to consciousness, but like anger, resentment, fear, grief, all of those are actually doorways to higher consciousness if we're going to give ourselves permission to feel into them. And, some people think, well, I don't want to experience that kind of grief, Suzanne. I'm like, I don't want you to experience it either. But the truth is, somewhere in this life, we are all going to experience grief. And somewhere in this life, we're all going to experience fear. And that's just the nature of it. And animals feel this, they'll experience fear, they'll experience grief and loss. Everything feels these particular emotions because we're in a zone of manifestation in the emotional realms. And that's why we're here, because we wanted to experience these things. Okay, the astrology today. As we sleep, the moon is in the dreamy and mysterious sign of Pisces. But when we awake, it will move into the dynamic sign of Aries. And I guess we all need another swift kick in the butt from Aries in order to move. It's time to be assertive and certain, determined and driven. With the energy, gumption, and drive of Aries pushing us into new and uncharted territories, it will also square its ruling planet Mars. And we will all have to we'll move forward. It's the best way to say it. If we so choose, and we will figure out how to take appropriate actions accordingly. Today, all new paths seem interesting and very supportive of releasing any unresolved feelings from the past. Many plans and possibilities will arise in waves of transition. Allow this new flow to inspire creative greatness to emerge. The Aries moon and Mercury are enjoying connecting, and it will help us find the right words to say at the right time. My quote for today: so much fear and lack of trust. Too many words confuse and disgust. I get so amazed at those who should know fall into fear and not be able to let go. Conspiracy here, hidden agendas there, just another way to hide their despair. The fear they hold is so strong inside that their denial makes them unqualified. That is how deceivers get hold. That is how lies continue to be told. Okay, my blog for today. The angels told me when I was a child that fear was the enemy, and that fear was the basis of all human dysfunction. And I remember those days that I believed that I had no fear. And I think that, because I've done it, I just assume if I've done it, everybody's done it, right? So I figure if I believed I had no fear, now I can look at that, and on reflection, I can see how that single denial shaped my thoughts, actions, and deeds for decades. And it was more like I couldn't give myself permission to be afraid. I had to keep going. I had to stand up. I had to look like I had my shit together. I had to look like I was okay, right? But, fear created such insidious beliefs, and I allowed them to shape my prejudices and choices. The great stories I made up in my mind that took on a life of their own. They were perfect to justify my actions and made me feel impervious, righteous, certain, and secure. But that was all a show to hide the deep-seated fears that existed within me that I denied. That is what I see right now with everyone who feels there is a boogeyman behind every action, law, and intention, even ones that could save lives. It is such an immature way to live, but completely understandable because I've done it myself in revealing the internal denials that each of us have held at different moments in time. It is such things that plague us right now. But nature upped the ante. The choices now are deadly. Life and death choices that can and will change the course of history and our world. They already have. What people don't understand is that this disease that is running rampant is not just a problem now. The long-term impact of this disease is only beginning to be seen and will shape our world even for the survivors years to come. The long-term impact of those infected is just now coming around. My sister is a doctor on the front lines, and what they are seeing a year later should make everyone cringe and run to get their vaccinations. My ex is a holistic MD, retired, and he has researched this in detail that only a person with copious amounts of time and money and 160 IQ can possibly understand. And let's just say I believe his statistics more than I believe the rhetoric that I see on the internet. The statistics are staggering and should make everyone do whatever we can to get on top of this nationally and globally. Otherwise, life will never be the same. Perhaps that is the point. Life is not supposed to go back to the old insane patterns of behavior. What I know is that the way this astrology is going, we are headed globally towards a massive shift of power and influence on so many levels. What that will look like and entail is going to be up to each of us. Our ability to see through our own fears, discover that the boogeyman is inside, not outside, and then decide to change. Now is the time to heal our deepest core self by admitting where we have been snared by rhetoric and finally give ourselves permission to move past the intended control and distortion of a few in favor of creating a world of more honesty and clarity. We need to create a world that is survivable for everyone and that gives hope and freedom. We can make the turn. We will need to do it together. Thanks, everyone.